Welcome to Asset Tracking 101. We are going to be walking through the setup of your asset tracking system, from getting it registered into the system, setting up different assets, looking at the different features that come with the Grit asset tracking functionality. So to start, we'll be looking at this computer screen. However, it's the exact same as if we were doing this on the tablet screen. It's just a little easier for video. So let's go to our admin section and click on Allow New Devices. And then we'll go ahead and plug in our asset tracking system. It will register. The light will turn green on the top. Also be sure to plug in the scanning gun that comes with your system into the USB that's on the bottom. Now we can go to Devices, and we see that we have a new entry here that says Scanner. So going into this entry, the first button, and probably the most important button on the configuration screen of an asset scanner, is the Connect button. The Connect button, it associates this physical device with a particular screen. So right now, if we want to have interaction with our asset tracker happen on this computer screen, then we can click Connect. If we want to later associate the screen on the tablet with the asset tracker, we would open up this same configuration screen on the tablet and click Connect. And so that allows the system to know which of all the different screens that might be hooked up to the Grit system, which one do we need to, or do we want to interact with the Grit, with this particular asset tracking. So for ease of this video, we're going to click Connect on this larger screen. And now all interaction happens with the asset tracker. It will happen on this larger screen. And that's helpful for when you're setting up a lot of these, a lot of assets as well. So doing that, a new menu item appears at the bottom. It says Tracker. Clicking this button will take you to the asset tracking kiosk screen. But also we noticed that when we plugged in and associated the asset tracker with Grit, a new menu item appeared at the bottom that says Assets. And so this menu item is the entry point into all assets, or all functionality for assets on the admin side. So that is setting up of new assets, setting up of templates, creating new fields that you want to use to track data for those assets. Everything happens within this asset submenu. Unless you have an asset tracker connected to your system, you won't have this entry. Prior to sitting down and walking through all these steps, I've created and assigned 2 cards. This card here is for a sign-on admin, and this card here is for just a regular user within the system. So this is what we're going to use when we're walking through the process of how a user can check out assets at an asset kiosk desk. Okay, so first thing, let's go over to assets. Let's talk about how the information is organized within assets and templates, and how this kind of basically fits together. So we're going to click on View at the top, and it allows us to select some preset views of different entities in this assets view. And so we're going to select Templates. The default template comes with the system, and we can click on this, and this brings up and shows the default fields that come with this default template. And at any time, we can add new fields. So let's look to see what it means to add a new field. Adding a new field allows us to select some field types. Text, a pick list, which is like a drop-down, a URL, which allows us to say save the URL to documentation, a yes/no Boolean field that could be used within your custom assets, or an upload field, which allows you to upload documentation into Grit so that it's always accessible for, say, all of your tools. Being able to have an asset for your table saw, and then on that asset, there's an associated PDF document for the documentation. Let's go back out of this template and change our view to all assets. Now, because we've never entered anything in the system, it's empty. We can click on New. Again, we're doing this on the computer, but it would also show up and work the exact same way on your tablet. We're going to create a new asset. And our first one, let's do these tape measures. So we have a new, we're going to say tape measure. Now, we can select whether or not an asset requires training. I would think that a tape measure probably would not require training, but you never know. We're going to go ahead and leave that to no. It then allows you to select what template you would like. And right now, we just have the one, which is default. And then we just click Next. Now, in the system, it's creating our new tape measure entity. Within a tape measure, we want to be able to assign the asset tag. So scanning our barcode and assign that, we click Assign Tag. We now can use our reader. Scan the tag. It now gets saved into this asset in the system. But it just so happens that we have two tape measures. What we can do now is we can click on the Manage Multiples button. And there's two options we can do. One is called, there's multi-instance. So this would be an example of multiple instances. Or we can say that this is a consumable. Consumable would say be multiple sheets of sandpaper, multiple drill bits, where every time someone checks something out, we're decrementing from a count. Whereas this multi-instance is, I have many of the same entity within the system. And so that's what we're going to select here. So we're going to say Add Instance. And then it already added our main instance. And now we just need to scan the tag of the second tape measure. And now we have two instances within this one tape measure asset. There is a field that allows you to enter in the serial number for when it's appropriate, say drills or larger tools where you want to track the serial number, possibly for being able to do returns on damaged items for your own shop. But we're going to leave this blank for right now. So we can click Close. So now up at the top corner, we see that we have two associated tape measure assets. And we can have as many as we want there. Now, for the category, we can think about what would be some good kind of informational groupings that would go with this. So category allows us to say, this could be measuring devices. So we look at the drop down. Because this is the first time we've ever been in here, there is nothing else. So we would click on Add, and then the field changes to a text box where we can add in measuring devices. And then you can hit Enter, you can hit Tab, and now this is a new value in our drop-down. The brand, again, looks like we have one that's already set here. Let's go ahead and add in a new brand, and that's for Milwaukee. And our model is 25-foot magnetic. The next field is the default checkout duration. So this allows you to set, when someone checks out this asset, how long are they allowed to have that checked out to them, and at which point an asset would become overdue. And you can set that here on this that says, allows you to select, is this a number of minutes that they're allowed to have something, a number of hours, a number of weeks, a number of months. So we're going to go ahead and leave this at 2 hours of default checkout. We're able to associate an image with an asset. On a computer, there is a little button that allows you to click it, and you can select an image that is on your computer. Or if you're on a phone or tablet, you can take a picture right from your phone, and it will associate that picture with your asset. So what I've done is I've opened up my phone to the same admin screen, logged in, and now I can click on and it says Take Photo. So taking the picture in one device, it automatically updated the screen, all screens associated within Grit. Any field that is created that is using a pick list within Grit will show up under Filter. And this allows us to then filter our view of potentially thousands of assets by this easy to use drop-down selection. Going back to view, we have a few different selections. We have the all assets, which is what we're looking at right now. And this would include assets that are damaged, assets that are checked in, assets that are checked out. We can filter by just assets that are available to be checked out. We also have one that says triggers. And so within Grit, every single trigger in your system also has an accompanying asset entity. This is what allows you to take a picture of that particular asset and add fields that allow you to track the documentation for those tools, or links to the correct size saw blade that goes with those assets. Anything that you would like to not lose and have easy access to regarding any tools in your shop, you can add inside of your asset for that particular trigger. Other options are being able to look at all of our templates, looking at all of our assets that are currently checked out, and all of our assets that are damaged. So we're just going to go back to our all assets view. Another option here, item at the top, it says prompts. So during the checkout process, the system is showing text to the users. We can change that text that's shown for all assets during the checkout by editing this top level checkout prompt text that's shown. We're also able to, on an individual asset basis, go in and customize that text even further. But this is kind of the global setting. So let's add in another asset. But this time, let's add in these few set. So we have a drill. This drill has accompanying a battery that works with it. This drill also has the correct accompanied battery charger with it. And so a user most likely will not be checking out the battery charger unless they're checking out either the battery or the drill itself. So we actually have one main asset we're checking out, but then we want to be able to inform the person that's working at this asset kiosk what are the associated things that go with this particular asset. There might be batteries that don't fit this one. Knowing exactly which accessories go with particular assets is very helpful for people that are working an asset desk that might not know all the nuance of what they're checking in, what they're checking out. So let's go ahead and add another asset, and we're going to call this hex screwdriver default template, and we say next. So while we'll add it then, let's go ahead and take a picture. Now we could have multiples of these screwdrivers, in which case then we can go in and use the manage multiples and add multiple of these screwdrivers to the system. For right now, we're just going to click on Assign Tag. We grab our scanner, the asset tag that's associated, that's stuck onto this device. And now we can go and category is, this will be hand power tools. Brand is Hercules. Model is HD 94B, and the serial number is 3699522219. Now we're able to track all of this within the asset system. So let's say we do have a warranty event makes it very easy to get at all the bits of warranty information you might need for particular assets. Now we'll go back to, we'll click back to our list, and then we'll click add again. And this time we are going to add the battery. So this is a 12-volt battery. And this definitely does not require training. We can take our picture. And this category could be hand power tools again. Brand would be Hercules. And this also has an asset tag. So we'll go ahead and add that in. Click back. And let's go ahead and add one more. Battery charger. Next. Category, hand power tools, brand, Hercules, and we will take its picture. And we have this connected at. We add in the scan the barcode. So now let's go back into that hex screwdriver that we originally put in, and we can click on Connected Assets. This now allows us to associate different assets with each other so that during the checkout process, when you are checking out one asset, it can suggest other assets that would possibly go along with that with the one you're checking out. That could be a router, and it could show you all of the associated router bits that fit with that router, or a hammer drill that has the associated SDS bits that go with that hammer drill. It can make what works well with this asset much easier with folks that don't know all of the details. So we are on our drill. We want to add in the battery charger and the battery now to our connected assets. And we click close. And so now up at this corner, we have two assets that are associated with this particular one. System automatically will also, in reverse, allow you to see with that battery what are all the drills that are connected with it. So it's a kind of a back and forth kind of association. Let's add in an asset that's consumable. This type of asset is someone's checking it out, but it won't be checked back in unless it's not been used. This is what is decrementing a count on the number or inventory quantity we have, in our particular shop. This example is some of our our VHB tape. This could be drill bits. This could be sandpaper. So let's click on New. And this is VHB tape. We can click on Next. We're going to add in our associated image. Next, we would click on the Assign Tag. And now we want to set up the multiples functionality. This instance is not a multi-instance item. This is a consumable. So now we need to adjust inventory. Here we just had a shipment of 200 come in. So we have 200, and this cost, say, 10 cents per item. And click Add. We now have an entry in the system, and it has the date and time in which it was entered, who adjusted the inventory, and now what is the inventory's value within Grid. And we can then click back, and we can click Close. And so now we know we have 200 of these assets available to be checked out. And as those get checked out, that number will be decremented. So let's now create an asset that requires permissions. So this is going to be a tool or item where we want to make sure that only folks that have had the right level of training can actually check this out. So we got our example. We have this Shaper origin. I would not want to lend this out to people that have not had the right training on it because it is such an expensive tool. So let's make sure that we can track that. So we're going to be creating our asset in the system. And this is Shaper origin. And we're going to say yes to this required training. And we click Next. We then are going to associate our tag. And we're going to be taking our picture. Now I'd like to associate the user manual for this tool and have that stored within Grit. So we're going to go and click on Manage Fields, and we're going to click on Insert New Field, click on URL, and we're going to call this field User Manual. This is the user manual for the tool. Insert. We now have a new field that accepts a URL to a PDF document or any content online. The link to our particular user manual. And then clicking on the little link to the side will open up that manual within your Grit application. And then at the top, you can click on the little button that says Return. So this is a hand power tool category, and we don't have the right brand yet, so let's click on Add. And then this is Shaper. And then this is Origin. And our serial number is 59799. All right. And if we wanted, we can adjust our checkout duration for this tool. Maybe 2 hours is too long. It's a popular tool. We can change that to minutes, and we can say 45 minutes. This checkout duration is used for the system to know when it needs to possibly send an SMS message to the person who checked it out, saying that that asset is going to be overdue soon, as well as informing people that are working at the front desk kiosk, hey, there's things that are overdue. So now we have this asset that requires training. Let's go look. We're going to go back in our user section and clicking on a particular user. Earlier, I had set up this user Jim as our test user. If we click on permissions now, in addition to having the permissions and permission groups for tools, we now have individual asset permissions, because that asset was registered as requires permission. So we can add this asset to Jim to be able to check out, or we can also, if we click back and we go and look at permissions, we can add assets into our permission groups in addition to adding in just tools. So I clicked on the Assets tab, and this allows us to then click on Yes for to include this asset in a permission group, not just tools. Thus far, we've been in the admin side. Let's jump over to the Asset Tracker kiosk screen and see how Grit works as a user checking in and out assets. So we can click on the button, the Tracker button at the bottom. Now, if you don't see that button at the bottom, that means that the Asset Tracker is not associated with that screen. And remember, we did that by going to Devices, find your scanner, and clicking on that Connect button. Also from this screen, you can also jump over to the Asset Tracker kiosk. So let's go ahead and do that now. Let's pretend like, as a user, I wanted a tape measure. Now, the asset gun will be in its holster. You can grab it, scan an item. It shows relevant information about that item, and we can click check out. Now we need to select the user that we want to have this asset checked out to, and so that would be Jim. You're going to touch the card on next to the tablet, and now it says Jim is wanting to check out this this tape measure. The word says, please return in working condition by the end of the day. This text can be edited globally, and it can also be edited on a per asset basis. And this is the prompt that we looked at earlier from the admin side. Let's also say that, in addition, Jim wants to check out the drill. So you can now scan the drill, and it's now building up its shopping cart of what you're checking out. But when we added that second item, the button at the bottom that says View Associated Assets became active. So now you can click or you can touch on that, and it shows you all of the associated assets that you can check out that go with that any assets that are currently in your cart. Now you can't click on or touch these particular assets. They must be scanned. The reason being is because then we know if we're actually checking out the right item. So let's go ahead and check out that battery. It removed it from the list. It added it to our cart. Now we're done. And now we can click on or tap checkout. Next, it's asking us and says, all right, we're ready to check out. Now we want to have the asset checkout admin that is allowing these things to be checked out. Who is that? And this allows us to track who is checking out what to whom. So we have the admin's card, the checkout admin's card. And we're all set. Finished. And that's all it takes to be able to check out items to a particular user. Now let's say that this person comes back and they want to return everything. They're all done working. The fastest way is to click on Bulk Check-in and just start scanning all of the assets that this person is checking back in. And on this screen, it shows the number of assets you're checking in, as well as a toggle that says, is this item damaged or not? So if they pulled the tape measure out too far, we can mark that as damaged, and we can enter in a description of what was damaged. If not, we can just then click on or tap on the kiosk screen, check in, and then again, it's requesting that a checkout admin tap their card. So we know who accepted these assets and said that they were damaged or not damaged during the check-in process. And we're done.